Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty, and I am your host Scotty McCoy, and I have a guest from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. He played Will, and it is Ira Heiden. Hi Ira, how are you doing?
It's Ira Heiden.
Oh, Ira Heiden, sorry about that.
It's okay, I'm doing good.
That's great. So I have about a couple of questions for you. The first one isn't about A Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's how did you get your start into acting?
So I had moved out to California, and my mom used to work for this company, Members Only. I don't know if you remember the jackets. You may be a little too young for it, but in the 80s, they had these really cool jackets, and they were sponsoring a tennis tournament at the Forum in California. It was John McEnroe versus Jimmy Connors. And I got to go with my mom and hang out, and there was a party before at Jerry Buss's house, and this woman was watching me and said, "Hey, kid, you ever think about acting?" And turns out she was a manager. Her name is Marilyn Sherman, and she wanted to get me into the business. So I hooked up with her and started getting some work.
That's awesome. Awesome. So what was your audition like for A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors?
It was pretty cool. Once I found out that I had the audition, I was psyched. And I loved playing Dungeons and Dragons growing up, so I really felt close to the role and made it as much of me as it was Will Stanton. And had, I would probably say, about 5 interviews. My first initial pre-read with Annette Benson, the casting director, and then came back and she put me on tape. And then Chuck Russell watched the tape and brought me in, and then I had 2 more interviews with him, and that was the process. And then I found out that I got the job.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and you did a really good role in that. And I've always been
Thank you.
like a fan of magic and everything, so I really related to your character. So I thought
Cool,
it was
man.
really cool. What was it like working with Robert Englund?
So Robert was amazing. I mean, just such a smart man. Great on the set. Great to joke around with. Just an all-around wonderful guy. And I was pretty intimidated by Freddie, especially in his mask and his getup and stuff, But I'll never forget one of my big scenes, my death scene. It's my very first movie and my very first death, and trying to work up the nerve and the emotions of what it's like to die, and really all that juicy actory stuff. And
Right.
Robert's right next to me, and he goes, "Hey, did you hear the one about?" He's trying to tell me jokes, and he's telling me how he just bought a house out in Laguna Beach and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Robert, stop! I have to draw upon my emotions. You're about to kill me."
And I heard so many amazing things about him. I heard so many amazing things, especially at conventions from fans and everything. That's really amazing.
Have you ever had the chance to meet him?
I haven't yet, and I really would love to meet him one day. And I was gonna go up to the Monster Mania convention in March, and I was gonna end up meeting him, and it was postponed.
Yeah, they just postponed that. I remember that.
Yeah,
That was up on his website.
yeah.
You'll get to meet him, and he spends time with you. If you have good questions, he'll answer them, and he's just a great, great guy.
Nice. I know in October they're doing Monster Mania in Maryland. They usually do it in Maryland at Hunt Valley every October, and this is I believe, my second year that I'll be in Maryland that they had it. The first year I didn't because I didn't really know where it was, and I was new to the state and everything, so I was still getting settled into my place. So this year, and it's only like maybe 15 minutes from where I live. So hopefully Robert Englund would be there, and I would love to meet him.
Yes, you should do it.
Yes, definitely.
Just
Um,
make sure he doesn't have his glove on.
exactly. Can you explain to everyone how it was filming your death scene and what all went into making it happen?
Yeah, I mean, it was, basically a long corridor that the crew had set up. And I had my cape on and everything, and it was broken down into different parts. They filmed me walking down the corridor with my pajamas, and then, Robert kind of laughs and then swings the wheelchair past me, and I jump back to the chair turning around, and then they cut back and forth, and then there's the he sends the chair after me, and that's when I fall down, and then get back up and turn into the Wizard Master and blow up the wheelchair, and then go after Freddy with my newfound powers. God, could you imagine if I had killed him, Scotty?
Oh,
Can you
that would have
imagine
been
if that was
great.
it?
That would have been awesome, right? Will would have been the hero.
A lot of people would have been so pissed off. But you're right. I would have been the hero, the pre-Harry Potter hero.
Exactly.
So there was also a part of the scenes where I'm on the ground. I say, "I am the Wizard Master. I am the Wizard Master," and the special effects have me lifting up, and that's when I get to blow up the wheelchair. But they actually had a board stuck under me, over my back, under the cape, and lifted me up that way.
Wow.
To make it look like I got up on my own, like my wizard powers.
That's awesome. Now the wheelchair, was that all digitally generated, computer generated, or what did they have? Did they build something?
No, those were real, man.
Nice.
If you go onto my my fan page on Facebook, Ira Heiden fan page, you'll see I took pictures of they had 2 chairs actually. They were like about 6 feet.
Wow.
And they had spikes coming out of them and everything. They were really, really cool.
That's awesome.
No, those were real. Nothing was generated other than they had sparks on the end of my fingertips for the Wizard Master scene.
Nice.
When I flashed them out, they made a flash, and then they added the special effects after of the wizardry stuff.
Nice. That's incredible. Did they like build any type of like cast or body cast or anything for when he did the stab?
Oh, when he stabbed me?
Yeah.
No
Okay.
body cast or anything.
Nice.
The funny story, Scotty, is that those things his fingers were retractable, the blades.
Yeah.
They weren't working on my death day. So they ended up having to put a 2x4 over my heart.
Wow.
And the good thing, I'm blessed with Robert Englund. Not only is he a great actor, but he's got great aim.
Yeah.
So he knew exactly where to put the blades, and he hit his mark every time. Thank God.
That's great. I mean, that could have been a real life death there.
Yep.
It's funny because we just finished my production company just finished making our first independent movie, and it's out in select theaters in October. And we ended up on the CEO of my company. She plays the final girl in the movie, and she always said on set every time we were gonna do a death, she's like, "No real life deaths." So it became a mantra of everything that we talk about. Now every time we talk about something, about making something or whatever, everybody says no real life deaths. It's hilarious, but it's true because yep, right.
Yep.
So what was the best part about filming A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and what was the worst?
Gosh, the best part of filming A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was, for sure, hands down, the camaraderie, the friendship that I still have to this day. One of the greatest things about in LA is you always run into everybody, but in different places. But I've been keeping in touch with Bradley Gregg, Rodney Eastman, Jennifer Rubin, Penelope Sudrow, Heather Langenkamp. Matter of fact, Heather and I just produced last year we did a reading of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 at the Whiskey A Go-Go in LA. We raised $14,000 for the Mental Health Foundation.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So by far the best is the relationships. I mean, Chuck Russell and I text each other and talk a bunch and have lunch and all that good stuff. Yeah. That's for sure the best. The worst, okay, well, I mean, hands down, it's the fact that I died.
Right.
I would have loved to have been a part of Nightmare 4. Yeah. That would really be the worst. I mean, seriously, there was nothing bad about that film. I mean, we worked downtown, we worked for scale, we worked on a low budget, but it was super intense and super fun, and we got to create, and that was a blessing.
Right. That's awesome though. Like that. I mean, it's literally hands down my favorite Nightmare movie. I mean, it's probably the best in the franchise. It really is. It's just
Yeah,
got
for sure.
great characters, great storyline, great everything, like great actors, yourself included, and it's just an amazing movie. And that's where Freddy got his, his jokes, his one-liners, his epic one-liners.
Scotty, I think one of the great things about that film is the fact that not only did Freddie have his one-liners, but you had a really good through-line story. I mean, these
Yes.
kids that had to come together and band together and
Yeah.
bond to try and attack this demon. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I completely agree with that 100%. So speaking of Heather Langenkamp, what was it like working with her?
Oh, she was great. She's wonderful. She was like our mom. I
Right.
mean, she took care of us on set. She was experienced already after working in the first one. Her and Wes were great friends, and so we really, she was a person you could lean upon, and all around great person.
Right, that's pretty cool, and I know that I would like to reach out to Heather because if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was her son that passed away from brain cancer.
From brain cancer.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
it was
that's what
really
my
sad.
I know there's a bunch of different kinds of brain cancer. I'm not sure if her son had glioblastoma or not. But that's what my dad has, and
Right.
I can relate to the pain she felt. You know what I mean? When from the whole thing, from the start of it, and my dad almost had a stroke after. He did have a stroke right after the brain surgery 2 days later, and he
Uh,
was only given 24 hours to live. And by some miracle, the doctors still were dumbfounded that he survived it. And that's why he gets a lot of physical therapy and occupational therapy and speech and all that.
yeah.
And then they gave him a year and a half time frame with this cancer, and now he's going to be 4 years in September. And it's been a monumental, a very very rough journey. But so I can definitely relate to how she felt during that whole time.
Yeah,
It's tough.
we talk about how those that have passed, we keep them alive in our memories, and we keep them
Exactly.
alive in spirit.
Exactly. So how was Chuck Russell as a director?
Chuck was like my father figure. Chuck was awesome. Just really had a great bond with him. Auditioning for him and stuff was great.
Hmm.
And he was really really easy to work with. I felt like we got to create with him in a sense of, once we had our lines down, and once he felt like the take was down, he kind of let us
Hmm.
play around a little bit, and it
Nice.
was really cool.
That's awesome. So what was your most memorable moment about filming Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors?
The most well, there's a couple of great memorable moments. The one is after the whole cast was cast. We went in Westwood and we had a brunch on Sunday, and then we walked over to Chuck's friend's loft and
Right.
we had our reading. We all did a reading of the of Nightmare
Nice.
3 that Chuck recorded, and I'm begging him to find it so that we could actually hear that. So that was a really fun moment,
Nice.
and also the fact that we got the different locations. I mean, we
Hmm.
got to shoot in at the Veterans Hospital, the VA hospital in Westwood. We had taken upon one of the rooms, one of the buildings that hadn't been used in over, I want to say, like 30 or 40 years, and
Wow.
it was like that the crew didn't even have to really work on the set much because there was
Right.
enough cobwebs and whole stuff around already.
Right.
So that was cool, just the different locations. And then the other one was we shot in a warehouse downtown, which was literally a block away from the LA County Jail.
Okay.
So that added a little extra scariness.
Nice. We know that John Saxon was in the movie. Did you get to see him at all on set, and how was he?
I never got to meet him on set, and a blessing or a curse, I never got to go to the to the screening, the premiere, because I was working on a movie in Florida.
Okay.
I was working on a movie called Illegally Yours, where I played Rob Lowe's brother, that
Okay.
Peter Bogdanovich directed. So I didn't get to meet John at the premiere, or I never worked with him, but I had met him on a lot of the conventions,
Okay.
which has been a lot of fun. And it turns out that he worked with Bruce Lee and Bruce's son Brandon was a close friend of mine.
Okay.
So we had a lot to talk about.
That's awesome. So what was the atmosphere like when filming A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors?
Pretty intense. There was a lot of heavy emotions, heavy scenes. I mean,
Right.
a lot of bee smoke in the VA hospital that was pumped in to make it really look, misty and smoky and stuff. And it was a heavy roles, and especially after you lose one kid, you lose Bradley Gregg, you lose him first, and so we're all kind of shooken up with that. And then there goes Penelope Sudra through the damn TV set. You lose another one of your comrades, and it just starts getting scarier and scarier. And the damn doctors are not listening to us, and they think that they know everything. And so it was, we all as kids, because we were kids back then, Scotty,
Right.
we really got into our roles. And Patricia Arquette, her first horror movie, she kicked ass in that movie.
She did.
It was great. And then Lawrence Fishburne, he brought some excellent intensity to the movie. So that was it. It was really a heavy project, which was super cool. I could tell you, Scotty, I had no idea what it was going to turn into. And I love what it has turned into.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we're doing, with all this crazy stuff going on with COVID-19, we can't go to conventions anymore right now. We usually meet and greet. So April 25th, we're going to be doing a virtual convention. So it's going to be on our computers. Okay. And it's going to be for Wizard World. So stay tuned for that. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Would you need tickets to access it or anything?
I'm sure you're going to have to go on their website to be able to access it, to watch and listen. I think we're doing like almost a 3-hour panel. And
that's awesome.
And I think that you could actually send in stuff for us to sign, and then we'll send them back.
That's awesome. It's good that with everything going on and not being able to get around, you got the eligibility to do and the way to do it through virtual means. Whether it's whether it's education where you're having meetings and classroom meetings and all that through Zoom, and having all these live events through just everybody's coming together to make all this quarantining come out not be as bad. Concerts online, and like you said, the Wizard World online.
Yeah, I mean, you get to be more. You'll find more creativity. That's one of the things about artists. You can never ever stifle an artist. They'll always find ways to create in different venues, and not even if you're an artist or whatever you do. You'll find different things at home to keep yourself occupied. And well, I may be even starting my own podcast, Scotty, so you never know.
That'd be great. Exactly. I'd tune in.
Cool.
Yep. Then I have a bonus question that I actually wrote down instead of typed it up. Would be, do you you kind of answered it about relating to your character by, being a fan of Dungeons and Dragons and that. How did you use that to your advantage to make, your character stand out and be different from the rest?
Well, one thing you always want to do is you want to bring or try to bring who you are into your characters.
Right.
For example, let's just say, Christopher Walken. That's him. That's the way he talks, and that's his personality. Right. I think you get the same thing with the Tom Cruise or my very first job was a commercial for Pepsi for the movies. It was called Let's Go to the Movies, and it was with Johnny Depp. And having met Johnny and everything. Yeah. You see him and his work. That's who he is. So right. That's what we as actors want to do. You want to bring who you are into that character. So that's why I said I just thought I could nail this role because throughout high school and junior high, I loved Dungeons and Dragons. And growing up, one of my first trilogies was Lord of the Rings. I loved J.R.R. Tolkien. So that whole fantasy world, I felt like I could really get in touch with. Awesome. So when you hear me saying, okay, you're being attacked by the bog demon, go ahead. No, that doesn't count. You got to say the words. Is me being me. He said, "Come, no, you got to do it, Jennifer. You got to say the words."
Right.
Okay. You survived, but your horse is dead. Now what do you do? So that's how I feel like I truly landed the role
Right.
by being able to bring out who I was and do more character research too, because they gave me the wheelchair before, like a week and a half before we were shooting, and my buddy Harold Pruitt and we would go one night. We went through Westwood, and I really got to see what it was like being in a wheelchair and how people react to you.
Right.
Like, some people kind of avoid you, and some are like, "Oh, let me get the door for you. Let me hold this for you and open it and everything."
Wow.
On a side note, Scotty, really quickly. So
Yep.
we were in Westwood, and my friend Pruitt, he had a buddy of his, John Schmidt, who worked at a place called Recorder Star, where you can go in and tape a song
Right.
for a certain amount of money and take that tape home, that cassette. So it was this really cool building that was downstairs, but upstairs was like the restroom and stuff like that. And I shook John's hand in my wheelchair. I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you." He's like, "Hey, nice to meet you too." And I said, "Hey, do you have a restroom?" He goes, "Yeah, but it's upstairs." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I walked out of the wheelchair and got up and walked. He had no idea that I wasn't a cripple.
That is hilarious.
So we got to pull a fast one on poor John Schmidt, but
That's hilarious.
that was a lot of fun.
Awesome, and I mean, Freddy's one-liners, like we said, started in this one, and everybody is like, "Oh my god, I love the whole welcome to prime time, bitch." But I've always loved, "I don't believe in fairy tales." I love that.
Yes.
That was great.
Oh God, I do believe in fairy tales, and I should have beat him.
Exactly.
One of the greatest things. I got a phone call from him like the day before we were getting ready to do our reading, and he goes, "Ira, it's Robert." I go, "God damn you, Robert! I should have killed you." He goes, "You didn't have a chance."
That's funny. The last question I got for you is, do you have any future projects that you would like to promote to our listeners?
I do. There's a show that we're putting together. It's a biopic about Brandon Lee, our friend, and it's mainly told through Brandon's best friend's eyes, Bill Allen, and our buddy Ezra Gabe brought in his buddy Robbie Krieger, who wrote our song, the title song already. We have Lou Diamond Phillips, who co-wrote the script, and he's also our director. So we're just chasing down some money right now, and when we can get back to shooting, we'll probably shoot that soon. But we're also on a different project. Bill Allen and I are co-producing a documentary about Brandon, which is awesome. So.
Okay, awesome. So everybody that is listening to this would be able to keep an eye out on that. Check out Ira's his IMDb page. You can visit his Facebook fan page. Where else can everybody find you at?
That's really it, man. They're on at the Ira Heiden fan page.
All right.
That's the cool one, and I post all the good stuff and
Awesome.
Things on there.
Sounds good. That's how I got in touch with you.
That's right, Scotty.
Yep. Thank you so much for your time. I am so glad we were able to make this happen. I know we had it planned last year, and things fell through. I know you had a meeting with the director, and things kind of fell through. And then I stopped doing the podcast for a little bit because I got really busy with work and everything. And then now a year later, literally a year and a month to the day, I'm actually, from when we last spoke, I'm actually doing the interview, which is awesome.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much for your time, Ira.
Absolutely, Scotty.
All right, you have a good day and stay safe.
You too now. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.